Hey there, it's Shauna. Welcome to your weekly astrology forecast for November 19th. This week I've titled All the Things because this week we have a lot of mutable energy that's being activated, and that typically means there's a lot going on, a lot of multitasking. We have a full moon also. So as always, I am excited to share the astrology of this week with you, and then I have 3 tips for you to make the most out of this week. So first thing that's happening this week is Mars will square Jupiter. And so this is important for a few different reasons. Mars has just recently moved into the sign of Pisces. Mars is about physical vitality. It's about fighting for something. It's about taking action. And when Mars is squared Jupiter, Jupiter typically expands the significance of anything that it interacts with. So we have an expansion of physical energy, physical vitality, and the fight for something. What's interesting about this is it's a square. Square aspect means that there's a little bit of tension there. I like to think of a square as something that you cannot ignore. You can't just be like, I'm not going to deal with this. It's like, okay, what is it this week around your physical vitality, your physical energy that's being expanded on? And I think too, because Pisces and Sagittarius are both mutable signs, they're both changeable. The word mutable literally comes from the meaning for double-bodied. And so what I think maybe another piece of this too is that Mars in Pisces means that your action and initiative and drive is happening in a Pisces kind of way. Pisces is more about going with the flow. It's a sign that is about consciousness and experience versus doing. So there's kind of like these two different opposing situations happening. So all of that to say, I think that it's going to be a week where you're definitely tapping into the ways in which you use your physical energy and maybe doing that in a different way that's a bit less linear than normal. The other thing that's happening this week is we have a full moon in the sign of Gemini. And so this full moon is happening on Thursday at 9:38 p.m. Pacific time. And this is cool because it's at 0 degrees of Gemini. So this full moon is happening literally the same day as the sun moves into the sign of Sagittarius. So we have like this really quick switch here where the sun is moving from Scorpio to Sagittarius. And then we have that bright full moon to illuminate and spotlight these issues of Sagittarius and Gemini right away. So Gemini is about communication, it's about knowledge, it's about sharing ideas, and it's about taking information and processing it and then having a new awareness of something. So Gemini as a sign, it's like this, I think of it as like this this cycle where you're like, okay, I'm going to get the raw data over here, and then I'm going to look at it and I'm going to regurgitate it and then have something different over here. I think that's a part of why Gemini is related to the symbol of the twins. So this is cool because also full moons are a time when things are all on display. There's typically a lot going on. If you have something that's been kind of lurking in your unconscious that wants to come out and present itself, that's usually the time. The time for that is usually during the full moon or around the full moon. And of course, this is happening on Thanksgiving, which is Thanksgiving here in the US. So the other piece of this is that this is happening in aspect to the planet Jupiter. So Jupiter is getting a lot of press this week. And that just means that this full moon is going to feel even more expansive, even more elaborated because Jupiter expands upon things. So all of that to say, I think it'll be really, if you celebrate and observe Thanksgiving, it'll be a really interesting time to be around family or friends. I think that a lot of energized conversations could happen. So, and I'll get to some of the tips on how to handle this, but I just want you to know that it may feel like it's already going to feel like there's a lot going on if you're celebrating that holiday, and it may feel even more so that way. The last thing that's happening this week is Neptune will station direct. And so this is not a super significant transit, but I do like to mention it because it is worth noting. So the planet Neptune moves super slow. So it's when it stations retrograde or direct, it's much more subtle. So it's really not going to influence you unless you have planets in the mutable signs around 13 or 14 degrees of Virgo, Gemini, Pisces, or Sagittarius. But still worthy of note. So Neptune symbolizes where things are, where there's like a certain fantasy element, and that can be illusion, disillusionment, that can be imaginative and creativeness, or it can also lean into codependence as well. And so, again, that's important for anyone that has any of those mutable signs, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, or Pisces, around 13, 14 degrees of those signs. All right, so what are the tips that I have for you? Tip number one is to find ways to calm your nervous system. And this is essential, especially earlier in the week before, like as we're leading up to that full moon on Thursday. And I say that because when there's a lot of mutable energy around, it can be very stimulating. Mutable energy moves, it changes, it transitions. It's the mutable sign is the transition in between the fixed sign, which is about stability, and the cardinal sign, which is about moving forward into a venture. So it's kind of like this tumbleweed or whirlwind kind of energy. And that can be very stimulating, especially to someone who has a sensitive nervous system, or if you're sensitive to a lot going on. So find ways to calm your nervous system, and this can be done through body work, through breath work, through just giving yourself some time to process the day, either the beginning of the day or the end of the day. Tip number two is to embrace paradox. And I say that because we have a little bit of that going on always when we have a full moon. And we have this especially because we have the sun moving right into Sagittarius and then that full moon in Gemini, and it's kind of like, bam, we're in the mutable season. The other part of this is that we have Mars that I spoke about earlier, Mars in Pisces, which is like kind of a paradox itself, because Mars is like, yeah, like I want to go and do the things. And Pisces is like, well, let's just chill and think about it and daydream. So I want you to really embrace this, like how can you do things in a way where it doesn't have to be all or nothing or black or white. It can be kind of shades of gray, or it can be both at the same time. The other tip that I have for you this week is to limit multitasking. And full disclosure, I'm saying this to you and I'm saying this to myself as well. This is one of my challenges. And I'm saying that because whenever we have mutable energy happening, there is a tendency to want to do lots of different things. There's like the nature of mutable signs, mutable energy is to multitask. And because we have so much this week, I want you to like notice how it is that you're multitasking and how it is that you're overextending yourself. Again, I'm saying this to you and to me as well. And I think like the other piece of this, yes, we have a lot of mutable energy happening, and we also have Jupiter that is just freshly in the sign of Sagittarius. Jupiter was in Scorpio for the last 12 months or so, and then last week it moved into Sag. It'll be there for the next 12 months or so as well. And we have the sun making a conjunction with Jupiter. So it's like, it's not just that we have this mutable energy, it's like all on display. So limit your multitasking and focus as much as you can. All right, so I'm going to pull a tarot card for you. So this is from the Radiant Rider-Waite Tarot deck. This is one of my favorites. So this is just a general tone and vibe for the week, and some general guidance to put a little fine pinpoint on all the things that we've explored today. Oh, well, this card apparently wants to be the card of the week. Okay, oh, what a sweet card. So this is the Four of Wands. See if you can see that there. And so, okay, This is totally appropriate for this week. So Four of Wands is about celebration. It's about like events of celebration. This card can be associated with like weddings and marriages and that kind of thing. And it has that association because the core of it is about a celebratory event, a day and point in time. And the number 4 is about stability. It's like the 4 legs of a table. It's like solid. It's like yes. And so I would say that this to me, the message I would get is definitely take time to celebrate this week. I think we forget that with the full moon. It really is a time of culmination and celebration. The full moon is not a time of detox. I don't know why that is written about a lot, but that is not traditionally true. The full moon is a time of celebration and like full potential being celebrated and expressed. And then the dark moon, the time before the new moon, is about detox and letting go and that kind of thing. So take time to celebrate this week and take time to stabilize yourself. Use that 4 energy. All right, that is your horoscope for this week. If you enjoyed it, please share it with a friend. And as always, I appreciate you watching. If you want to stay connected with me, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook under Neo Feminine Astrology. Until next week, I'll see you soon. Bye.